Hello value investors, thank you for joining me. My name is Michael from Deep Value Returns on Seeking Alpha. Today I want to talk about Fubo. So what's attractive about Fubo, how to think about its three different segments, and then we're going to talk about its valuation. So what's quite interesting about Fubo is that it has three segments, okay? So it has the streaming segment that accounts for approximately 85% of the business. This side of the business is what everyone is focused on, but it's actually not the biggest driver of the upside potential. So it has the streaming business, has the advertising business, which is something that's particularly attractive, and then there's the question mark over the wild card, the betting segment. So I am long Fubo, so this is something that just wanted to put out front and center, so I'm quite biased here. But in any case, I think that I'll point out an objective point of view for you to kind of make your own conclusions, okay? So the streaming side of the business, which is 85% of the business, is growing, but it's never going to be really a profitable business. What it does provide for Fubo is A, credit card details, which are really, really valuable. B, it's a customer acquisition cost. So essentially, it's what it uses to get customers on board. The way to think about it is really similar to Roku. Now, everyone kind of grimaces when I say that. Everyone's like, oh, Fubo will never be like Roku. Okay, but what I'm saying is that you get the customers with the streaming, and then you get the advertising revenue. So the advertising revenue right now for Fubo is only about 15% of its business, but this has been growing for a while at well north of triple digits. So it's growing at a very, very fast rate. And if you think about, if you just compare and contrast and you say, okay, yeah, Roku's business model shows that its advertising business is coming in at approximately 55 to 65% gross margins. This is something where Fubo can in time approximate. If you look back to approximately 2018, Roku was just predominantly selling hardware, and nobody could really understand that the advertising business would be as valuable as it turned out to be. I contend this is the same play right here with Fubo. So you can see that there's a business that's growing at clear of triple digits, but this is the whole business. So we don't actually know how its betting segment is going to play out. What we do know is that the advertising and the streaming business is growing at more than 100% year over year. And also keep in mind that they've reported only 2 quarters of so far, and on the back of each quarter they've actually raised their guidance. So this is a management team that has been very, very successful in putting out some guidance that is aggressive, and then meeting that guidance and raising the guidance. So there's nothing really, this is the great advantage of investing alongside management, when management is the founder of the business and has a lot of skin in the game. So this is, when you align with them, with management that has these founder-led businesses, whenever the share price goes down, they are also suffering, and they are highly incentivized to drive the business higher. It's not just a mercenary CEO that comes in and kind of spends 3-5 years with the company and then goes off to do the next enterprise. This is their baby, so they're really motivated to see the share price go higher. And if you look in 2020, the share price has really not gone in 2021. The share price hasn't really gone anywhere. So as I discussed already, you kind of get in with the streaming, you get that you get information on the user. So you know that Fubo's user is a male demographic, 18 to 49 years old. So it's a very, very powerful niche demographic for advertisers. Advertisers want a few things. Advertisers want to know who they're targeting. They want very much to have data on who they're targeting, and to be able to get more and more analytics. And over time, that's exactly what Fubo is providing. Fubo provides a lot of data, and the more engaged that its users are, the more valuable it becomes. And as we go into the latter parts of 2021, there's sports coming back with all the rage, and I suspect that it's going to be such a strong tailwind for Fubo's business overall. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the advertising business. So the advertising business was actually up 281% year over year as of Q2. So I mean, obviously against Q2 of last year, all advertising stocks have done really, really well. But we're not talking at growing at just 100% or even 120% or even 150%. We're talking about 280% year-over-year growth rate. I mean, this is just mind-blowing. I think that when investors think that this stock is only priced at 7 times forward sales, this year's sales, I think this is just really in the bargain basement. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is you can see here in the graph that you can see Roku's financials. You can see that the platform kind of typically oscillates around 55 to 65% gross margins. So this is, if you look at Facebook or other Twitters or whatever, other advertising platforms, you can see typically this is the range around 55 to 65% gross margins. And because that's advertising is incredibly profitable, and the more engaged that the user base is, the more valuable that user base is. Remember, if you compare with Netflix, approximately the average user spends time on Netflix approximately 3.2 hours a day, whereas on Fubo they spend more than 7 hours a day on Fubo. So it's the customer base is extremely sticky, and this is very, very valuable. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is that it's difficult to value the company because the bullish thesis of mine is really contingent on that betting segment, and that betting segment is now starting to be with a soft launch right now, and we're not going to really know any tangible figures until Q4 gets announced in February. But even if you think about it, okay, so you got something like DraftKings. Everyone compares to DraftKings, and DraftKings is priced at approximately 16 times forward sales. Now, this year's sales. But Fubo is very unprofitable and DraftKings is very unprofitable. Both companies are incredibly unprofitable. You can look at Roku, and Roku is priced at approximately 18 times forward sales. Yes, it's priced slightly more expensive, but it's it's a profitable business. So with that in mind, is it really worthwhile that fuboTV be priced at just 7 times this year's sales? This is really, really cheap for a business that's growing at triple digit. So in any case, this is something that I'm particularly bullish about. I already discussed it, but just to emphasize last time, so just to compare the ARPU, this is the pricing power of Roku. So the pricing power of Roku was up 46%. The ARPU was up 46% year over year, and for Fubo was up 62%. So it just shows that not only you're getting large user growth, you're getting pricing power, and this is a very strong dynamic together working to drive forward the advertising business for Fubo. So with that in mind, I think that there's a lot here to be attracted to this business. Just wanted to highlight some of the investment risks. Obviously, a large portion of the business is really driven by its streaming business, and if the streaming business is never going to be profitable, investors may continue to look at that and attach too much weight to it. But I made the case that over time the advertising business is growing so much faster that in a few quarters it's going to be 20% of the business, and then 25% of the business, and investors will not think of Fubo as just this kind of unprofitable streaming platform. They're going to think about it something similar to Roku slightly. They'll think of it as a streaming platform that has advertising, and then there'll be more and more evidence of its betting segment being a strong business model. So in any case, I hope that you found this pitch useful, and don't forget to check out my marketplace. It's called Deep Value Returns. This is one of the stocks I do own and do highlight there, and you're welcome to do a totally free trial to see if it suits you. You can unsubscribe anytime before the 14 days if it doesn't resonate with you. So as I say to everyone, I'm not really a place that's going to replace you as the investor. It's just I'm just a marketplace that gives you 1 or 2 interesting ideas, and you can pick and choose what makes sense for you and add it onto your portfolio. And if you haven't got the time or to do the due diligence or the inclination, or you're kind of new to investing, my marketplace is particularly suited towards you. And yeah,